Hey there. Well, I'm Matthias Lehman, for those of you who know me. For those of you who just know me through the internet, I go by Gentleman Gustav most of the time. And I got Ice Bucket challenged by a friend of mine, and I didn't really want to not do it because ALS is, a really terrible illness, and I do think that raising awareness for it is a good goal. And I didn't really... I've been watching all of the Ice Bucket challenges, and something kept bothering me about them. I didn't quite know what it was. I was watching them amidst weeks and weeks of horrible news from around the world, and I'd think, where is the Ice Bucket challenge for Ferguson? Or where is the Ice Bucket challenge for Gaza? And if you don't already know, those are both places where tear gas is being used on civilians. And if you're not familiar with what tear gas is, it is a chemical weapon. It's actually an aerosol, not a gas, that is considered so inhumane that 98% of the countries in the world have agreed not to use it in wartime. And now we have countries using it on civilians. So that's something to think about. I didn't really understand why the Ice Bucket challenge bothered me until I got challenged to do it, and I got ready to do it. Here's some ice here, and I realized that the world's problems aren't ice buckets. And what I mean by that is that dumping an ice bucket, a bucket of ice water on your head, sucks for a moment, and then it's over. And it's sort of the simplest possible engagement that we can have with the world's many problems. It's more akin to a quick publicity stunt and then a donation. And what is most important is that we, as the internet population, as college students, as adults, as people in general, can just go back to our lives. We get to feel like good people and forget about all these bad things that are happening because I made a donation, or I made an Ice Bucket challenge, or whatever. But when you step back and look at all of the people suffering in the world, they aren't really problems that are new, and they're not problems that you can just dump out. And they've been around for years. Sorry, I'm opening this bag of ice here, so there's going to be some background noise. So I actually am doing something. We're in my bathroom. This is my bathtub. And I got to thinking that really the world's problems are a lot less like an ice bucket and a lot more like an ice bath. Now, what do I mean by that? First, I mean that ice is actually harder to get out of a bag than I had envisioned. But I've only got one take because this ice is going to melt. So, an ice bath is sort of it's a persistent problem. It's something that you have to continue to deal with all the time. And I don't think people realize what sort of stress that puts on people. So people who are living in poverty-stricken regions, or people who are suffering from war in war zones, or people who simply are suffering from poverty, their ice bucket. As you can see, that's when you are sitting in ice water, the first thing that happens is your heart rate spikes and your body is not happy, and you can't just get out, because this is not just something that you've adopted for some small reason. This is what your life is. And so, for people in this situation, they just have to sit there. And they have to tough their problems out, knowing that even if there is help coming, it might not be enough, it might not come quickly enough, that their family members might die, that their family is in danger, and sometimes all that they can do is manage to keep their head above the water. So what I have to say to people watching this is, sure, we can take the Ice Bucket Challenge. We can donate to charity and make donating to charity viral, and that's a wonderful thing, but we should remember that our engagement with these issues doesn't end when we dump the water out. We can all do more. Now, I'm not saying we should all donate $10,000 like Charlie Sheen, because we certainly don't all have... God, this is really cold. We all don't have that sort of money lying around, but we all do have talents that we can bring to the world. For me, the events of the past week in Ferguson have shown me that I can't just isolate myself from the problems of racism in the world. I can't solve racism, but if I can educate just a few people by writing articles or by talking to them, maybe I can help make even a little difference. Of course, I will also be making a donation to the ALS Association, as well as donations to two of my favorite political and social organizations, the American Civil Liberties Union, and Doctors Without Borders. I guess the Ice Bucket Challenge is everything, so I'm gonna dunk myself now. I'm gonna go back to talking. So, what I want to say to the people that I'm going to nominate is that I challenge you to find a talent that you have and a way that you can use that talent to make some difference in the world. And also to remember that it's important to enjoy life, because there are a lot of people who are, constantly, essentially sitting in social ice baths. There's nothing that they can do to get out of their situations. Just to give a few examples, people who are in war zones can't simply move to another country. People who are in poverty-stricken regions, well, in America, poverty is hereditary. If you grow up in a poor family, you are much, much more likely to simply remain poor when you grow up, because it's hard to do things on your own. That's sort of the purpose of a society and a government. So I want to challenge you to both, again, find a talent that you have and a way you can use that talent to make some difference in the world, but also to just remember to enjoy what you have, because a lot of people have a lot less. So I want to challenge my League of Legends team, Funk Overload, and I'm going to go ahead and extend that to everybody I've played in a LoL game with in the past week. I also want to challenge my supervisors at Riot Games, Tom and Jamaica, just because for once I want to be able to tell them what to do. And I'll go ahead and extend that to everyone who's been a freelance writer at lolesports.com. I want to challenge my fellow writers at Fistful of Wits, Jason and Henry, but also anyone who's ever sent me their writing to look at. I want to challenge my little brother Christian. You keep writing, little buddy. You're gonna get there. And finally, I want to challenge my dear friends Lindsay, Johanna, and Rin. It doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be the Ice Bucket Challenge. It doesn't have to be this horrible thing that I did not realize would be so cold. And really, I just want to challenge you to find some way to do something good with what you have. I'm gonna end this video right now because I can't feel my toes. It's really cold. So there we go. This is the Ice Bath Challenge. Pass it on, and I hope you take on the challenge.